the federal agencies are behind the times. They lack the staff and the personnel and the training to answer this question. So if you look at more balanced assessments that have been conducted lately, including the one that Dr. Benny Shai just referred to by the Swiss National Expert Group, they have concluded that current standards are not sufficient to protect public health or the environment. Let me start out with something that was said earlier by Susan Kahn. The 5G impacts on energy and climate are real and important and have not been fully taken into account. Specifically in China, as Dr. Benny Shai indicated, they are turning off the 5G antennas at night because it is an energy hog. 5G antennas use 3 to 10 times more energy than 4G antennas. That is a fact, and that has led the Chinese to turn off their antennas at night. In addition, they've turned them off because they found that even with the growing Chinese middle class, which is the largest in the world, people are not inclined to spend the additional money to purchase new routers, new computers, new refrigerators, new coffee pots that are all 5G enabled. And as Nicole Williams indicated, there's a huge problem here with economic disparities, because those people who are supposedly going to be bridging the digital divide, in order to bridge it, you'll need new devices. You'll need to spend the money on them and invest in them. And that is hardly going to bridge the huge gap that we now have, the digital divide. With respect to birds and bees, I've published a machine learning analysis with an Australian scientist in a peer-reviewed journal, Malka Halgamug, in which we found that the preponderance of studies show clear impacts on trees. And most recently, scientists working in the government of Belgium and scientists working for the industry have produced modeling studies on honeybees. And they have shown clear evidence that there will be impacts on honeybees that could be devastating. Now, we know that honeybees are responding all over the world to neonicotinoid pesticides, but the impact of electromagnetic fields from growing radiation plumes has never been taken into account. Basically, what the 5G system is a huge marketing system that has not been fully tested. And we need to take a step, take the moment to evaluate what really is being pressed here and ask ourselves a question. Why did Swiss Re, before the pandemic, conclude that 5G was off the leash, out of control, and therefore Swiss Re, one of the world's largest secondary insurance firms, refused to cover 5G as from any health and environmental impacts? That's a very important thing. If you cannot get insurance for the impacts of 5G, and you as a county are now putting these things up, then you're going to be liable for the costs that will be incurred when the damages start to accrue. And again, as Professor Paul Benny Shai showed in his letter published in the Sentinel, there are a substantial body of evidence documenting these effects on subtle biological processes that are considered important and predictive of the increased risk of cancer and other things. We do not know why young adults in the United States today are getting 4 times more rectal cancer. Young adults under the age of 40, according to the Centers for Disease Control and the National Cancer Institute, are developing 4 times more rectal cancer in the past decade. This is a big problem. And one of the things that needs to be looked into more carefully, as my colleagues and I published in a recent peer-reviewed article, is the role of keeping wireless devices close to the body. And with these antennas, exposures to this kind of radiation will be more generally increased in the environment. And studies in India have shown damage to the DNA of people living closer to antennas at the current levels. So we need to rethink our policies on siting. Certainly in Israel and France, it would be illegal to have a cell antenna in the middle of a school and to build a school around an antenna. It would be against the law in these high-tech countries. What are we doing to our children here? Those are the questions that I hope the council will think about when it considers what to do in this matter. Thank you.